Stephen, you've said that the first time you remember crying in the movies was during Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs.
No, Bambi.
I thought you took your first date to Bambi.
But I cried in Bambi.
Okay. So, are most of your life's big moments connected to the movies?
No, not all of them, but my early memories certainly are. The first movie I saw was the C.B. DeMille film, The Greatest Show on Earth. That was the first movie I ever saw. And a lot of, I became such a movie sort of, I became such a, just a lover of movies. And my parents loved taking me to the movies. And they loved watching my reaction to movies. And what they didn't like was when I was up all night afraid to turn the lights out because movies would scare me too. Right. And I think at the very beginning, until I started to grow up and find a social reality and identify who I was in the world, not outside of movies, just who I am as a person. But until that time, I think movies were pretty much, I was drowning in them.
Right. Stephen, in that documentary made on Jaws, The Shark is Still Working, they've got footage of you reacting with disappointment to losing out that nomination for Best Director that year. Over the years, do awards and nominations matter less and less? Many people felt you deserved Best Director for Lincoln this year.
Well, the biggest mistake I ever made was letting those cameras into my office when they announced the nominations on television for Jaws. I mean, I was so embarrassed. Number one, that there were cameras there. Right. But here's the great news. The first person who I ever met. First time I ever went to Europe was on a TV movie I directed called Duel.
That's right.
And I went to Italy. And I went up to the top of the Spanish Steps. I stayed at this hotel at the top of the Spanish Steps at the Hassler. And I got a call. Remember, this is my first trip ever in Europe, offshore. And I get a call from the lobby, and it's a woman. She says, "The maestro would like to see you. Would you come down to the lobby?" I was in my room. And I didn't understand what she talked about, the maestro. And I guess I paused, and she said, "Maestro Fellini is in the lobby, would like to meet you." I ran downstairs, met Federico Fellini, who had just seen Duel at a press screening, and wanted to meet me and gave me a guided tour of Rome that day. When I lost the nomination for Jaws, you know who got the nomination? Fellini.
Right.
And I tell you something, the cameras don't show this. I was so happy it was Fellini who actually would replace me that year.
And Milos.
Oh, I didn't get it. I didn't get it. I wasn't nominated. I got beaten out by Fellini.
You've been to India before, Stephen. You shot a little bit of Close Encounters in India. What are your memories? I know you also backpacked through India in the 80s, was it?
80s, yeah, early 80s, yeah. Well, my memory of shooting Close Encounters here was it made me want to come back.
Okay.
Because I had the entire production facing me. We had thousands of extras. Francois Truffaut was here with Lance Hendrickson and Bob Balaban, and we were only here for like a week of pre-production, a few days of shooting, and then we wrapped out and went home. I stayed at the Taj. Okay. And but I just remember saying, I am coming back to this country. There is something about the people who look you in the eye, and I see love, and I see mindfulness, and I just feel a real sense of spiritual belonging. And that's exactly my first impression of India. And that was confirmed when I came back for a length of time and spent a lot of time backpacking and realized that this is one of the greatest spiritual centers in the world.
You also worked with one of our Indian actors,
Amrish Puri.
That's right, in Temple of Doom.
Temple of Doom. He played Mola Ram.
That's right.
Right.
You don't believe me? You will, Dr. Jones. You will become a true believer.
Stephen, from Jaws to E.T. to Jurassic Park, artificial intelligence, Tintin, you've really been at the forefront of technological advancement in cinema. What, in your opinion, are we going to see new in the movies in the next 5 or 10 years?
Well, I think the biggest technological advancement in recent decades has been the digital medium.
Right.
You know, creating characters on a computer. And the first, I actually executive produced the first movie that ever had a digital character in it, which was the Barry Levinson directed Young Sherlock Holmes.
Right.
That John Lasseter was our animation director that animated the Templar Knight that jumped out of the stained glass window and had that scene with the priest in the church. in Young Sherlock, and that was the very first digital effect ever in a movie. So we all go back to the very beginning of it. Now that that's been established, almost to a fault,
Right.
because it does tend to take the eye off the ball of good storytelling with a good script.
Sure.
When you can kind of dodge and weave and dance your way into making a movie with a lot of big showy effects,
Right.
which isn't really storytelling. So that's the danger of it. The next breakthrough, I think, will be in presentation.
Okay.
It's going to be technology that will find further ways to present a motion picture in even a more enveloping, more of a sensory, where that aesthetic distance between the audience and the screen is narrowed even more. And I think that's where everybody, all the technologists, are looking for the next big step.